A pretty quiet highway, but that's to be expected around these parts.
The big city of Clearwater has about 65 residents.
68 people.
Most of which are senior citizens. We have a few new younger families. And then we have a pretty good supportive group of farmers around the outlying areas that are really great at volunteering. And Clearwater's been a great community for getting things done.
That work ethic continues with newcomers like Carissa and Greg DeYoung. This is their second farm since a past life as big city dwellers.
We've been here for about a year, and so we have meat chickens, which are behind me, and then we have laying ducks and laying hens, and a half-acre market garden.
The newest addition to the farm is these 3 cabins. Carissa and Greg hope to see them as another revenue stream for their small-scale farm, but it's a product of the community as a whole.
This community in particular has been interested to see, well, how can education and outreach start to transform the way that people think about food, start to think about community, and start to think about resources in general and what we do with each other to make our communities better. This is about 15 feet long here.
In this case, that means the donation of a century-old settlement home. Lancelot Kaur and his students of the University of Manitoba's Department of Architecture tore down the structure and broke into teams of 2 and 3 to design the cabins and see them through to completion.
A lot of architecture students, contrary to what many might think, don't have a lot of construction experience. And even in the academic realm, there's not a lot of opportunity for students to get hands-on experience in the world building things at full scale.
And that means confronting some of the problems or challenges within their own designs. For example, a 2x4 in a century-old home is 2 inches by 4 inches. Today, you buy that same piece of wood from a hardware store and it's 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches.
We're mixing different essentially centuries of wood together. And so when they're designing a wall and building a framed up wall, they don't realize initially that these are different sized lumber pieces, and that creates a whole host of issues and problems and challenges.
While they're thinking about resources, these architects in training are also considering things like weather, transportation, the politics of permits, and perhaps most importantly, what's best for the community. These cabins came about because there was a need for visitor housing in Clearwater with events such as the Harvest Moon Festival and annual baseball tournaments which bring in thousands of people. Other years it's been projects such as this restaurant extension that students are putting the finishing touches on this year.
They tore down an old hog barn, if you can believe it, and sanded down all the lumber, and then the students all designed different things that they thought they could do with the lumber. And this restaurant project was one of them.
Lancelot has been working with community members like Dave through the Department of Architecture since 2007. The relationship was forged by the Harvest Moon Society, which laid down roots in the town more than a decade ago as a way of connecting rural and urban communities. Success stories like these are the result of an openness between the two.
Working with any community is a collaborative endeavor. So they don't know what they're getting into, we don't know what we're getting into, but over this, as I said, over this long period of time, it's just turned into this incredibly fruitful and respectful relationship where we learn from each other.
Learn new skills, new ways of thinking, and recognize a few older things that we sometimes take for granted.
Just our views over the valley and that sort of thing, you see them every day, and so what, you know. But when you get strangers that come to town and they really compliment you on it, and that's like, yeah, maybe we do have a pretty special place here.
Sharing this piece of the prairies is getting easier with the new cabins and their hosts.
As much as I love to be a bit secluded here and have the peace, I love to know what people are doing and how things are changing. And so the cabins bring that too. It's pretty great.
These cabins are 2 weeks away from their inaugural sleep, which will be performed by Harvest Moon Festival musicians. After that, they're available to anybody wanting to get out of the city and head south. About 2.5 hours south of Winnipeg in Clearwater, Manitoba. For Go Winnipeg, I'm Kim Kasher.